Muslim vigilante moral policing goes wrong in India. In the South Indian state of Karnataka, a case of mistaken identity led to a brutal attack where 7 men and 2 minors from the Muslim community assaulted 2 cousins, mistaking them for an interfaith couple. The incident occurred at a park where the girl, a Muslim wearing a hijab, and her Hindu cousin sporting a tilak, which is, the religious forehead mark, were waiting together. The attackers, misled by the pair's religious symbols, refused to believe the girl's pleas that the boy was just her cousin. The boy, injured in the assault, managed to call the police after 3 hours. Imagine being assaulted for 3 hours straight. The attackers, identified and arrested, faced charges including attempted murder and assault. The girl recounting the ordeal said, "They snatched our mobile phones. They took him to another room and assaulted him. They also hit me, asking why I was roaming around with a Hindu boy being a Muslim girl." So, let me provide a little background on this story here. Okay, so I kind of found this interesting because when we cover incidents like this that happen in India, usually it is Hindu vigilantes who are going around assaulting couples simply for being together, like literally just a couple being together on Valentine's Day. My friend has told me that she doesn't even go out with friends on Valentine's Day because sometimes these Hindu mobs will come and force you to like marry the men that you're with because they don't want there to be like couples around on Valentine's Day because they see it as a Western thing. Like Brajang Doll's like hatred of Valentine's Day and their mob activity on that day is on a different level of crazy. So this is like something I usually associate with Brajang Dal, which is like a Hindu nationalist militant street gang, and they will, yeah, go assault people that they think are interfaith couples, usually with their hatred being most towards Hindu girls that are with Muslim boys because they think that it's a part of love jihad conspiracy theory. But what happened in this situation is in Karnataka, it was a Muslim mob that was doing the moral policing this time. I hate, let me be clear, I hate some good old fashioned vigilante community religious law enforcement. Just total strangers going around and assaulting people that are not following religious dictates that they force upon them. Who died and made you Basiji? Come on, what the fuck? Um, so what happened was the there was a Hindu boy and a Muslim girl and their cousins because this Muslim girl, her mother was a Hindu who married a Muslim man. So she was raised as Muslim. But her cousin, is still from a Hindu family because her mother, his aunt, came from a Hindu family. So they are they're interfaith cousins. But that didn't matter. Because let's be clear, it doesn't matter whether they're cousins or even if they were a couple. Even if they were a couple, they obviously should not be assaulted and nearly murdered over this. But because they made the mistake of being family from an interfaith family and seen together, they were assaulted for damn near 3 hours straight, which I cannot even comprehend. I mean, I can't even comprehend being like assaulted for that long. Um, so yeah, this is a horrible story. And it goes to show why like this internal community policing is so toxic. I mean, not that we needed much convincing on that.
So this is a Muslim area. Wait, what's back here? This is a Muslim area within this neighborhood. This area is Muslim within India. Am I understanding it? And they had this
So they were
policing
in a
going on
park.
there.
They were in a park. Off the top of my head, I have no idea if the district of that specific park is predominantly Hindu or Muslim. I don't know. I do know that there are lots
Hmm.
of areas of South India that are very heavily Muslim, like Kerala. Kerala is very heavily Muslim.
I mean, imagine getting beaten up for being with Hindus in India. Like, I mean, it's horrible on both sides. Like, we have Hindu mobs beating up Muslim boys for hanging out with Hindu girls, and it's also now we have Muslim mobs beating up Hindu boys for being around Muslim girls. Um, but the second one just seems something you expect to hear in Pakistan. The fact that you're getting beaten up for being Hindu in a Hindu majority country, it just seems, again, I don't want to act like it's like worse because they're both horrible. It's just bizarre. It's just is it strange to say it's more unexpected for you? Like, I'm getting beaten up right now for being Hindu in India by Muslims. Is that not more bizarre? I think it's more bizarre.
I mean, to a certain extent. However, I'm also familiar with how insular and segregated and like very internally controlling a lot of these communities can be.
Right.
So part of me is not
Right.
that
And
surprised.
what do you think about the back? Is it going to be backlash? I mean, um, Muslims beating up a Hindu boy in a country where there are a lot of Hindus who hate Muslims a lot. Is that not going to be a sure way to get a major backlash from other from
Of
Hindus?
course it is,
I
but
mean,
do you think that the kind of
yeah.
men that would do this kind of thing to
Oh, they don't care.
control a woman's
Yeah.
behavior, because they're doing this because this is a hijabi with a Hindu boy,
Yeah.
like, and then they're
Yeah.
also being charged with, like, attempt to outrage a woman's modesty. That's the area of the Indian Penal Code that it's in, which I don't know what that means, like, outraging a woman's modesty. I'm assuming that means, like, some form of sexual assault. Um,
Mm.
Yeah,
By the way,
to assault and punish a Muslim girl for being seen with the wrong kind of boy, especially an idolater, like, that's not you know what the attitudes of a lot of these people are like. I know how far some people will go for that kind of behavior. They'll murder girls over less.
right.
So,
Mm. By the way, is it just? I mean, you follow these stories more closely than me, but I get a sense that it doesn't really bother the Muslims or Hindus if it was the other way around, right? So if you're a Muslim, you are more likely to get offended by Hindu boy with Muslim girl, but you're probably not going to get offended with Muslim boy, Hindu girl, right? And the other way around, if you're a Hindu, you are more likely to get offended by a Muslim boy, a Hindu girl, but you're probably not going to get offended by Hindu boy, Muslim girl because of the sense of ownership that you have over women and them stealing our women kind of mentality. Like, they don't get, like, if it's a boy, if the boy is on your side, they're not stealing your boy, you're taking their girl, right? So that's a win. But if this a girl that is on your side, then it's not you taking their boy, is that they're taking your girl. It's a sense of ownership over women that gets. By the way, this is not unique to the Muslim and Hindu communities. There's a lot of far right Christians who feel the same thing. Like, they're taking our women. These Muslims are coming, or like it used to be. It used to be black people that would offend far right like Christian groups are like, oh
oh
my
no, it
god,
still
black people are
does.
taking.
It still does.
Oh yes, it still does. Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like this whole taking our woman mentality as if like the women are yours for them to take. That's what I'm sensing is happening? Am I correct? Like, they wouldn't like am I wrong to guess that these same Muslims that were beating up this boy for being Hindu with a Muslim girl, they wouldn't have gotten so butthurt if it was a, a Muslim boy with a Hindu girl? They would like maybe also do the Islamic version of high fiving him as well, like good job, like taking their woman, like kind of thing, right? No, am I right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we see that all the time. Or either because boys are
Right.
held to a lesser standard than girls. Like there's so many instances across religious communities where boys can have tons of premarital sex and people aren't really like that upset about it. They'll be like, "Oh, that's not great." But if a girl loses her virginity for marriage, it's like the end of the world. Okay, so there's just kind of like that baseline behavior across many different cultures. Right. But then
Right.
specifically within this dynamic, there is on both sides, and this is, with the far right extreme fringe of both sides, but like it's like this belief that you're converting their women and that's seen as essentially like a win. It can also be seen as driving like a sword of shame into the others because it's like you allowed your women to be taken. And
Mm.
then also um from the Hindu nationalist side, they believe in something called Wapsi, which is returning to home. So meaning that Indian Muslims are returning to their Hindu roots. So they believe in Gwarwapsi, like coming home to Hinduism, returning to your Hindu roots
Right.
that you belong to because you're part of the Indian subcontinent. That the Islam that you believe in is a colonizing force. So you're coming home to us. And so there's that belief. And then of course on the opposite side, we have a general belief in, the superiority of Allah and converting, acknowledging his greatness, leaving behind idolatry, all of those things. But you know what's interesting? We talk about the love jihad conspiracy theory a lot on this channel, Armin. But did you know that there is a reverse conspiracy theory that Hindu
Mm.
boys are taking Muslim girls? And what's it called?
What?
Oh, oh my god. It's called the I think it's called the Bhagwan love trap. Because when I was
Bhagwan.
going down the rabbit hole of understanding the love jihad conspiracy theory, which guys, if you're not familiar, is basically kind of like the great replacement theory, but for Muslims in India. Um, it's it's the Bhagwan love trap. I went down a rabbit hole of discovering this account, and it was a Muslim guy who was obsessed with the idea that Hindus are stealing Muslim women through trickery
Mm.
and deceit. Oh, I've never heard that
Mm.
one before. And that they use, I don't know, maybe black magic or some shit. I don't know. to to
Right.
love
Right. Right.
trap them into leaving Islam and to joining the Hindu community. I think I'm pretty sure it's called the Bhagwan love trap. It's the something love trap. So it is it's I mean, I love these rabbit holes personally. When I discovered this, I was like, "Oh my god!" And the Instagram account exposing the Bhagwan Love Shop was like exactly what you would think it would be like horribly photoshopped, like fake news articles exposing things, like really grainy photos of some kind of behavioral infraction. Like I don't know. Um,
This is actually all a great cover for the actual community that is quote unquote taking your women, okay? Because we have you all fooled, okay? The Muslims are blaming the Hindus are blaming the Muslims, the Christians are blaming the Muslim immigrants. You all think like you're losing quote unquote your women to other religious group, but it's actually the statistics shows, okay, that it's the atheists. It's the atheists that are taking your woman. Okay. So this is just our sneaky way of just putting you all against each other while we are the actual, community responsible for taking
divide
the
and
highest
conquer.
number. No, I mean, statistically, that's true. Like, if you look at people leaving Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism, most of them are just leaving religion. They're not going to other
Well, that's
religions.
mostly in
So,
the West.
right.
Um,
Kenny's like, don't tell
I
them.
know.
Yeah.
Wait, there was a hilarious comment by Gene. Gene is saying these people need to find another outlet, like writing fanfic or something. Here's the thing, though. I think that this is like their fanfic because I don't know if you have heard some of these Hindu nationalists talk about the love jihad conspiracy theory, but they think that Muslim men have like this sex drive and sexuality of a fucking god. Like, there was this one really famous Hindu nationalist woman who was talking about, you can look this up. She's like, we shouldn't be calling it love jihad. We need to make it clear that it's actually sex jihad. So like they just have it's kind of the stereotype that they'd have like this like sensuality around them. Like they have this mystique. They're so suave. They have these charms, like these Muslim Indian Muslim Casanovas, like, and they can just totally bewilder this women and swipe them off their feet, and like they can't even like know what's happening to them because they're so overcome with like the sensuality and like the romance and like the tingly feelings that you feel and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, the way they talk about these Muslim men, it's like they have like this special sexual potency. I'm like, what is it? Sigma Abdul. And then I'm like, this is such a weird level of like, do you have a sexual inferiority complex? I mean, Armin, we joke about this on the show all the time that if this is true, these Muslim bros need like brothers and sisters. Let's start giving lessons. Like, let's start helping out our Hindu brothers over here. They need to up their game. Like, what do they need to figure out that these Muslim men can just come and like enrich you and like totally just bewilder you into being like, yes, oh my god, I'll marry you and become a Muslim right away. Like, what is what kind of self-report is it to be like, oh my god, these men are just so sexually potent, like our girls can't help ourselves. Like, I feel like that's like low-key calling all of your own community men like kind of impotent. Like, what the fuck? Like, do they need to be giving like pickup artist classes or something? What is
Yes,
happening here?
that is my comedy. Somebody needs to make this into a short clip. I've been telling this to our audience, like, why is this not a comedy skit already? So my idea was in India, you would have it like a 5-minute clip of showing these like very, very angry Hindutva people like getting together. I'm like, oh my god, they're taking our women. Like, how are they doing this? We have to do something about it. And they're like, yes, and they get together and they seem very angry and they're marching and they're going to these Muslim houses and it seems like they're going to like beat a whole bunch of Muslim men. And the next, it cuts to the next scene, and then you have like the Muslim men, and you see the Muslims like watching them coming, and they're nervous, like what are they going to do? And the next thing cuts, like you see all these Hindus, they're taking notes, and Abdul is taking like, so this is how you talk to them, this is how you like charm them. And then the Hindu guy is like, wait, so I don't ask for bobs and vagines on the first day? And Abdul is like, no bobs and vagines on the first day, you have to wait at least on the third date or so. That would be the best. Somebody make that. Somebody made that comedy clip. It's fantastic. Anyways,
Oh
I
my
think
god, there's so many funny comments on the live chat. So,
yeah.
Gene is saying this is their version of American race play, isn't it? Yes, because you can find entire subreddits dedicated to this. It's become like a taboo, like
Yeah.
fetish kind of thing. It's very interesting because it's so like forbidden. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how juicy. And it's just so good to say they are implicitly pro-Muslim because okay, and this is it. That's what's so funny because as what it Macedonian, however you say this guy's name, they also say that the Muslim men have higher testosterone levels. So like that's part of why, because they like are literally more masculine. I'm like,
It seemed like it seemed
why are
like
you shitting on your own men so much? It's
I
because
think that
partly because they eat meat. And many
Mm.
Hindus don't eat meat.
Are
So
these
like,
Hindu men
going
into?
through this
Hold on, let me say. Let
mention,
me make my point, Susie. Do you think these Hindu men are into Muslim men? Like they might be some. Like it just seems like they're just into. Like maybe they're jealous of their Hindu girls, given how many compliments they're giving them. Maybe they're secretly into Muslim men.
they
Maybe you
want to
should
be
just get them
swept off their
together.
feet by Abdul.
Yes, they're like, why are you just coming for Hindu girls? Why are you not coming for us? Yeah, I don't know.
Raheem
Maybe
doesn't
that's
pay
a.
attention to me.
Right.
And
Go on.
Zayn is saying, "Do I lose this charm when I leave Islam, or do I keep it?" Well, many of these Hindu nationalists think once a Muslim, always a Muslim. So Zayd, I think the ball is still in your court, my friend.
Vlad, we didn't miss your super chats. We're doing the super chats. We are going to do the
Yeah.
super chats after we read the relevant comment. Which actually I want to point out where is that comment by Mariam? You unstarred the comment that I starred. I need to go all
Oh,
the way
sorry.
up now. Fine.
Okay, Miriam was saying that Iranians are turning to Jesus Christ. I unstarted it because I didn't know how
Which
that was relevant.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, no, they're not, Mariam. You keep like, I don't know why Christians are keep pretending that that's happening, okay? Because we have you guys as beat, okay? I have numbers. You might have social media stories and shit like, oh, Iranians are turning to Christianity. No, Mariam, they're leaving all religions altogether, okay? Look at us. Look at your numbers in Iran. Christian, 1.5, okay? Those are rookie numbers. Those are nothing. Look at us. Look at nuns and atheists combined. That's like 30% of Iran is now non-religious. Okay, look at your 1.5. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I don't know. I know Christians like to go and like highlight like where Christians are gathering and act like you have the big numbers. You are losing everywhere. Like, first atheism and Islam, unfortunately, Islam are growing. Christianity is losing badly. Okay, look, in Iran, you got nothing in Iran. Christianity is not growing in Iran. Don't believe that.
Miriam
Anyways,
is saying that she didn't say that, or you're
yes,
taking her
you
out of
did.
context.
No, yes, you did. Like people. Okay. Anyways, atheism. This is why you should have kept the star. Okay. See, now she's saying it is. So she is saying that. All right. So let's do the super chats.
Okay, SFL gave us 7 Canadian dollars. Thank you. Y'all is saying demonetized. A little play on
Demonetized.
words there.
Yes.
Are you
Play on words.
implying
I
that
see
the
it.
YouTube algorithm is a demon? It's demonic?
Yeah, we did
Because there are
not say
people
that.
that like do this wordplay to say that the Democratic Party is demonic. Okay, let's go to the super chats that are related to this story, and then we'll go back to Gasians, which is a little bit different. So Vlad gave us a super chat saying Hindus were and still are being persecuted by Muslims, except media keeps it hush hush. These actions, though, are inexcusable, don't come out of nowhere. Certainly, it also depends on the context, right? Like,
Yes. Actually, let me make a point. A lot of times when we highlight Muslims being abused by Hindus, people think we deny that Hindus get abused by Muslims and vice versa. Okay. So they both exist. Okay. In around India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, there's a whole bunch of Muslims that are being abused by Hindus, and there's a whole bunch of Hindus that are being abused by Muslims. Okay. Again, not all Hindus and not all Muslims, but one of them does not deny the other one. They both exist, and it's horrible. They're both horrible. Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep, we talked about the
So we
treatment
don't
of
deny.
Hindus in Pakistan in particular a lot. Okay, so Darko also gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you, Darko. And actually, so did Kenny. Guys, that's so generous. If you just got one of the Atheist Republic memberships, make sure to drop your newly granted emojis in the live chat. Sayak Patra
Thank
gave
you.
us 100 rupees. Thank you, saying there's a belief among Hindus in India that they were forcibly converted by Mughals, lost land, and that this all culminated in Hindutva's move or their movement. I mean, the Mughal invasion is nothing to shake a stick at. Let's be clear. And especially a lot of Hindu nationalist rhetoric is fixated on the Mughal invasion as a historical grievance, and that does fuel a lot of what they do because they're obsessed with this civilizational grievance, and they can't just kind of like live in the present day. It's kind of a like a mark of shame or that they still like can't deal with. Indominus Rex is saying they call it the Shah Rukh Khan archetype. Hey, I'm not complaining. He's very handsome. And Asian American is saying the cuckold fetish is very common, apparently. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't know why. A lot of men love the idea of like being sexually humiliated by the woman that they love the most in the world being more pleased and like ravaged by another man in a way that they could never do.
Well, we don't question other people's kinks.
And Asian American, in regard to the previous segment, gave us a super chat. Thank you, saying Reagan had put him on the talking about Nelson Mandela. Reagan had put him on the terrorist watch list. Mandela was part of the ANC. The group protested racial apartheid by booming places. Well, we don't appreciate the booming of places.
Right. By the way, Mariam is saying, no, you just question their faith. Yes, we do. Actually, Mariam, we should turn that into don't question people's kinks, question their faith. That's a good slogan to have. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.